Caitlin, are you going to do the intro?
Well, I sure shit don't trust you with it.
Well, then send us.
Here we go. Welcome to the Texas Poker Experience. My name is Caitlin Comeskey. I'm here with Craig Cyr, and we are here for episode 2 of our podcast. How are you doing today, Craig?
I'm doing pretty good. That's a lie. I'm doing great.
I swear to gosh, Craig, like, I always think I'm a high-strung person, but then the minute I get around you, I realize that I'm actually a pretty chill lady because you are so high-strung. We were not late on the way here, and I thought I was pregnant with our baby, and you were taking me to the delivery ward based on the way you were driving the car.
Have you ever heard the saying, if you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're fired? I kind of live by that. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're
I haven't
fired.
heard the you're fired part of it. That's an escalation. I've heard the if you're on time, you're late. But if you're on time, you're fired. Wow.
I very much...
There's some trauma in there. You want to unpack this?
I very much have high anxiety about the clock. I don't know why. I always have. It just has not changed.
Do you think it has to do with like a lot of your professional life you spent as a dealer? So it's like you live your life in these 30-minute downs, so to speak?
I haven't dealt a lot in card clubs where we actually have a 30-minute down. A lot of times that I'm in a private game where you're just chained in the box till the game's over. So it's like, you know. You're
just locked in there for 12 hours. They hand you a Gatorade bottle and they say, good luck, homie, limit your liquids.
Do you need a bathroom break? Tough shit. Like... I mean, we're playing poker here. That's way more important.
I have played so many long sessions where you're in the box, and I'm like, wow, Craig didn't move.
I can tell you that I have legitimately been accused of having a catheter in.
Would you go to those depths, though?
No. I mean, I'll go the depths of, like, intentionally dehydrating myself the day of a game, knowing that I'm not going to get a bathroom break, but I don't...
That doesn't sound good.
I don't go so far as to, wear a diaper or put a catheter in or anything like that. But back to the...
But the thought crossed your mind, apparently.
No, it's crossed other people's mind because I've been accused. Like, there's no possible way a human can sit and deal poker for 11 straight hours and not get up and not, whatever. I am well taken care of, though. There's usually a game girl at the private games and, someone will bring me some food that can be eaten without
some tiny bites.
Yep, tiny foods is a category that has become a thing. I think it needs to be its own Instagram success. But
you create that one.
Yep. So, but back to our difference in personality, I guess we'll call it.
Why do I feel like you're about to say something awful?
That's what makes people friends. Have you ever heard the term opposites attract?
Yeah, I've heard that. It's how a magnet works.
Yeah. So, similar. My wife, bless her heart, is
Jackie, gorgeous lady. Hi, Jackie.
Probably going to be late to her own funeral. Late all the time. Late for everything. To the point where I've even done the thing where I build in 30 minutes and I say, "What time are you guys going to be there?" And I say, "Well, we'll be there at 7." And then I tell her that we need to be there at 6:30. And that way we're there before 7:30. It works. And now that we have a child, it's just, it's 10 times worse. I mean, there's so many things that need to be packed up. Life has gotten so much crazier. And I actually
God help me if I ever have to go to an airport with you. I leave for the airport maybe an hour before my boarding time. IDGAF, Holmes.
But are you checking a bag or no? Do you leave any earlier if you're checking a bag?
Why are there follow-up questions? I really don't, no.
Because the important thing is not so much that you get on the plane,
if it's a major airport. No, I mean, we're talking Austin here. This is going to be airport dependent. I'm not running around here missing flights constantly. But if I were flying out of LAX or JFK or anyway, I feel like we're talking a lot about boring shit. Let's get to the poker.
Okay, well, first off, I think we owe our viewers or listeners an apology because we said we'd have a guest this week, and apparently nobody likes us enough to actually come and record.
We barely tried to get anyone. Why are you making this a we did a bad thing? Why is your integrity tied up around the fact that I said there'd be one?
You maybe barely tried. I asked a bunch of people, and I have to say there's a bunch of people interested.
You maybe barely tried.
There's a bunch of people that are interested, and that kind of leads us into the next topic, is that after one episode, and it's something that we did talk about for a long time, but after one episode, I was overwhelmed, and you and I have talked about it. I'm pretty sure I'm echoing your sentiments as well. I was very, very surprised at how positive the response has been in our local poker community, but also far-reaching. I mean, I have friends from college that reached out, and frankly, I had lost their number. I had to ask who it was. I didn't know who it was, but they reached out saying that they saw the podcast, heard it, listened to it, loved it, thought it was great. Some people, the feedback is so positive just to like step out and do it, right? Because a lot of people talk about stuff, but they don't actually go and execute and do it. And so when we finally decided, you know what, let's just go and record and we'll see how it goes. Just getting positive response just for stepping out and putting yourself out there and doing it is cool.
Honestly, that's been a huge goal of mine in the last 2 years, especially as I've played poker more and more. It's just sort of coincidentally been a thing where I just want to say yes to as many things as possible. Like someone asked me last minute to take a trip up to Oklahoma for the a WPT or whatever the heck it was
to Choctaw?
Recently. Yeah, my friend Colby was like, "Hey, you want to go?" And I thought about it for 20 minutes and I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, I haven't even really made up my mind yet." And I don't know. And I'm like, and we didn't end up going because it was snowing or whatever. But he was surprised that I was so down. I'm like, well, yeah, you invited me and I want to say yes to opportunities, and you never know where things are going to lead you. So I'm very happy to be doing this. And I'm also very grateful for the feedback and support that we've received. Give a shout out to the team at the lodge who Skull and Rick both listened, and they both shouted me out on their live stream on Saturday, their big live stream. I saw Jason and Joe at the lodge, and both of them had listened and were very supportive. And I'm just blown away how all of them listened and had positive things to say and were being, supportive.
I've had family members that have reached out that don't even know anything about poker. They don't care. And they said that they were not only being positive about, like I said, just putting yourself out there and doing it, but they actually listened to 44 minutes of talk. I mean, I guess you could argue that it's not all about poker, but
I feel like this is an excessively long victory lap for the top of episode 2, though, Craig.
Well, I guess I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to everybody that's reached out.
Definitely gratitude. It's definitely gratitude.
It really means something, and there's been a lot of, of course, friends and family and stuff that are helping out, leaving the 5-star reviews on Spotify.
That helps out so much, y'all. Thank you for that engagement.
Yeah, those algorithms are for real. Because I've always been particularly, I won't say annoyed, but, you follow someone on YouTube, you always watch their videos, and every single video, 2 or 3 times, they have their call to action. Please like and subscribe and blah, 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 blah. And it's a minor annoyance, especially when you've already done those things. But now seeing it in real time, and you go to Spotify and you type in Texas Poker and we are top on the list. That's, I know it's a niche thing, but
it's a little niche.
But that's pretty cool to be number 1 on any list after one episode. First try. Pretty awesome. So thank you to everybody that's helped make that happen.
Thanks, y'all.
So, Caitlin.
So speaking of the lodge, right?
That is our topic of the week. There are some YouTubers that have taken over.
It's so exciting. I was there last night. And I remember when I watched the podcast, Doug Polk's podcast, where they made the big announcement. They bought an ownership stake in the lodge, and they announced this big week of events that we're currently in the middle of. And they said for Tuesday, Monster Meetup Week, and they're going to just stream every night. They had a tag team event last night that was tons of fun. Ebony Kenny, Ashley Spleef, along with these 3 male main owner vloggers were there. And then also, I remember on this Doug Polk podcast, they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to try to get 18 2-5 tables. And in my head, I used to organize 2-5 game tables around town. I know how many run on a given night. And I'm like, honey, I don't know. Maybe 8 to 10 on a big event is the most. And they smashed it. They had 22 at their peak of 2-5 tables.
Yeah. I think that I thought that was a great idea, them, getting in and doing what they're doing at the lodge. I thought, wow, that they have a extensive reach. I think I underestimated it still, because their reach is massive. To have 22 2-5 tables going on a Tuesday night at the lodge is just, I mean, that shows you what kind of reach they have. Because
no, I was speaking to Jason on last night, and I was like, I mean, I'd wish you luck, homie, but you kind of have a stranglehold on the industry right now. They are absolutely killing it, bringing on Doug and Andrew and Brad with the reach that they have and the popularity of those guys. I mean, I really think they're going to continue to grow the whole industry.
I went to the lodge on Monday night. They had a 5-10-25 stream with Brad, with Andrew, with Doug, and, you know, a supporting cast. The stream was wild, but I was just there in the room, and the room was...
Skull Mike does such a good job curating those lineups.
They must have had, I would say, 20 to 25 cash tables going. Lexo's there. It's not just those three guys. Lexo was there. Rampage showed up. The Next Gen guys were there. There were probably people that I didn't see or didn't recognize that were also there. I mean, the amount of people, it's just the world we live in now where these YouTube superstars are just, they're there and they draw a crowd. All of them draw a crowd. It's unbelievable. I've been to the lodge. To
the point where like vloggers are popping up everywhere. I feel like there are so many vloggers here in Austin that have just launched a channel within like the last month or two that are kind of, you know, hovering below the 1K subscriber mark, building from scratch. And of course, we wish everyone luck.
Yeah.
But it's going to start to get crowded out there in those vlogger streets. When I sat down at my table on last night, Tuesday night, it was, of course, I recognized Andrew Neeme right away sitting in the 5 seat. And then there were 3 other players at the tables with their phones out recording hands. And I was like, you know, trying to break the ice and like tease them for it and stuff. And it was wild. I got into a really big hand with Andrew Neeme, actually. And I was terrified I was going to get felted. Well, I'll tell the story. So I hadn't been at the table very long. We're playing an Omaha bomb pot. He's in the small blind position, and I'm in position of the 3 players that make it past the flop. He leads out, and there are 2 callers. I'm in position, and then with pocket 9s, there was a queen high board rainbow, and then there was a spade draw on an 8 high board that was a little more straighty. And then on the turn, I made a set on the bottom board, and Andrew checked it. My opponent checked it and I bet it, and then he went over the top all in. My opponent thinks about it for a little bit but finds the fold pretty quickly. Based on the makeup of the board, the top board was queen 3 4 5. So 6 7 made the nut straight on that board, and then the other board was 2 spades 8 5 9. So 6 7 would have scooped me, but that's the only hand that scoops me, and he's going all in on the turn here. But he has his camera out, and I know he's filming the hands, and I'm like, ugh, are you going all in here? Why would you go all in with the nuts? Which is eventually why I found the call, because that is the only hand that's scooping me there. And he bet it on the flop before either of the straights had come in. So,
plus, you still have outs if...
Yeah. So I could possibly boat up on the bottom, even if he does have 6 7. There's one more street to go. But I make the call thinking, like, there's a decent chance I'm about to get felted here. And then he turns over pocket 8s. So he had second set on my board.
And nothing on the top.
And 9s held on the other board. And I forget what the rivers were, but it ran clean for 9s on both boards. And I acted kind of a fool because I'm sort of known for doing that around town, and people know I'm not doing it to be an asshole. I'm just doing it to be fun. But I'd never met him, and I kind of was like a little too excited to win the pot and so relieved I wasn't. And then I like mugged for his camera, and then like after the moment passed, I was like, oh shit, was I just a shithead after I felt at Andrew Neeme? And then he left the table and went to the table right behind us, and I was like, oh no, was I just the meanie that felt at Andrew and like spiked the ball in his face? So Andrew, if you hear this, I am so sorry. I was just nervous. I literally thought I was going to get felted by you in front of all your viewers.
Are you sorry that he's a fish, or are you sorry that you won?
Oh my Lord.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Andrew Neeme, obviously not a fish.
That's the only plant I've ever played with him.
Obviously not a fish. We all know that he's skilled. We've seen his stuff. It's been out there for years. But I do wonder
visually. I hope he makes me look good. Put a filter on there. Jesus, she's getting old.
I wonder if some of that, though, is a little bit of lack of experience in the double board PLO bomb pot, because it sounds like
this wasn't PLO. This was a hold'em, 2 card.
Oh, well, even still,
But
though,
even like the double board, split pot.
not a lot of equity on top. So kind of on the top board. So you have them in pretty bad shape. But yeah, interesting.
So we'll see if it makes the vlog.
I wasn't able to make it to the lodge for the Monster meetup last night, Tuesday night, but I was up there on Monday, played a little bit, about as card dead as I can remember being for a very, very long time, but I do have a story if you're interested.
I would love to hear it.
I was there waiting for my seat because the list for 1-2 had about, I don't know, 39 names on it, and they think they had 9 or 10 tables full with a list of 39. So, of course, I had my Whataburger, because I have a habit, and had my Whataburger, and I'm just sitting in the corner eating my Whataburger, waiting for my seat. And I see all 3 guys walk in. I see Doug, Andrew, and Brad walk in, and thought that's pretty cool that they're there. And there was, I'll say, a small crowd around them. Everybody talking to them, wanting to take a selfie with them, and they're glad handing. They're all smiling, telling jokes and whatever. And a little backstory: I met Brad Owen before. I have a small poker table business where I build custom poker tables for people, and I've built some for these card clubs.
They're gorgeous, gorgeous tables, baby. Handcrafted with love in the garage.
It is a garage business, which apparently those are the best kind. I don't know, but I did build one for Brad. It was kind of a charity angle to it, but he ended up stopping by at one of these times that he was in Austin in the past, and so he came to my house, saw the table, and just chatted with me about the poker table business and how it evolved. And he was a really, really thoughtful and insightful
Brad Owen,
guy.
Man of the people.
Yeah, I thought, wow, what a great guy. And so I'm at the lodge and I'm like, boy, I'd like to go say hi, but he's not going to remember me. I mean, this was a year ago and whatever. So he literally turns and looks and sees me sitting by myself in the corner. And
This is like a teen rom-com. I love it.
Yeah,
he just plucks you up.
So he spots me, and he gives me the kind of the chin up, head nod thing, and he comes over to me.
Stop it! He came to you, BB.
And he says, "Hey man, what's going on?" He said, "How's everything going? How's business? How's the family?" And I thought, you are just the man. I mean, you are fantastic. I mean, the guy must meet.
I love how our stories is Brad Owen being a sweetheart to you and me being an absolute thunder C-word to Andrew.
Do you remember at the beginning of the episode when we were talking about how we're a little bit different?
We're a little bit different.
Case in point. Case in point.
I'm so sorry, Andrew. I've thought about nothing else for the last 12 hours. I'm sure you've forgotten immediately.
All right, so we've both told our story about the lodge. Do you have any more plans to go this week? Because they have other stuff going on.
I'm going to fire
week.
at their 500K. They're doing 10 500Ks this year. They're doing monthly 500Ks. I think the off months are like August and November.
Just the World Series? Or is that during the World Series that they're taking their
I
off
don't know,
months?
but I looked at the schedule just the other day. But they're probably doing different events that month, where I'd guess like the I-35 Cup happened not last November, so that might be that one. But yes. So
and they're doing 8 first flights.
Yeah, so what they do is they do a noon flight, which usually bags, depending on how many entries, around between 10 and 12, I feel like they've been bagging. And then they do a 6 p.m. flight. And I have no earthly idea what time they find the bag for that. But they do that Wednesday through Saturday, and then day 2 Sunday.
And they're going to live stream the final table on Sunday night.
And I think if you bag twice, how it has been, I haven't double checked the rules on this one, but there is a double bag bonus. To where if you find 2 bags, you get money in hand, right?
And so the last time that they did a 500K, first of all, they guaranteed 500K and they damn near hit $1 million. I think they were just shy of $1 million in the prize pool, which is incredible. And they had a bag bonus. So they're doing a double bag bonus this time?
Maybe it's not a single bag, but I don't know. I shouldn't speak on it. Let's cut this out. Getting the details wrong at the tournament. But
yeah, I mean, we don't want to get the details wrong, but the bottom line of it is there's a lot of value there, because that 500K, a lot of people come in because of that 500K, but they crush those guarantees. It's not the guarantee is really just,
and they're not firing a bullet and leaving. People are going to get in those cash streets too. So the games get really fun and juicy and lively then as well.
And people fire multiple bullets in those tournaments.
People are driving in from the other major cities. You get all the Midland crowd, the Odessa crowd. Gosh, I love those ladies that come out and play from Midland and Odessa. Just salt of the earth people.
Good people. I've done some business out there myself, and I've met a lot of people from out there, and really, really nice people.
Pretty dope.
I enjoy them a lot.
Well, should we move on to our top 5 of the week?
Sure.
Have we completed giving the Lodge their proper due props?
Well, I actually did want to say that they're going to stream a 100-200 game, which is probably the biggest game that's ever happened
100%.
in Austin, for sure. Maybe in the state, and definitely the largest live stream.
I accidentally played 2550 on Monday.
I know about this, but tell our viewers really quickly.
I signed up to play a 5-10 game, and when I got there, it was pretty clear that everyone wanted the 25. And I brought 2K to the game, thinking, well, I brought 5K total to the game, and I was thinking I would like have 2K bullets if I get felted, and then I have a little add-on money. When I show up and I buy my 2K and I sit down at the table, I look around, the next smallest stack is Bones with 6K, and then everybody else has 8K or more. And I was like, you know what, this is not the right strategy to just sit here with 2K. I feel like I'm going to be all in or fold pre, and I'm just like not going to have any room to play at all. And I want to play. I'm here to play. So I decide we're just going to go with the 1 bullet, the 4K. And I had the best session I've ever had in my life. And it was a really stacked lineup. So, and after the stream ended, we changed it to 10, 25, mandatory 50. And that's the largest I've ever played. It was
exciting.
It was an adrenaline rush. It was super fun.
That is super exciting. I know that we were texting back and forth while that was going on. Probably don't enjoy being pestered while you're playing the biggest game and the biggest pots you've ever played in your life, but I enjoyed the ride, just kind of watching the live stream.
Y'all always text me. I need to be texted. It's key to my fundamental well-being. Never think I don't want to be texted. I may not want to respond right away, but I love texts.
Well, good, because I'm a heavy texter, but do not call me ever.
We've spoken on the phone like 3 times in the last 2 days. What are you talking about?
Sometimes a phone call is merited, but yeah, that's kind of just
I'm
one
the
of my
exact
things.
opposite. I would rather have phone calls. I don't take a guy seriously until he calls me up, for instance.
Well, you're talking about dating, though.
I changed. I pivoted a little bit. I'm so sorry. I made it about me again.
All right, let's get into the top 5 then.
Top 5 reasons you know you're in a good Texas poker game.
All right. Number 5, nobody wants to fold.
Gosh, people hate folding in Texas, y'all. And to be fair, like once you fold, the hand is over. The fun doth stoppeth.
Yeah.
Once you give your cards away, there is no chance of you winning that pot.
Correct. Yeah, I was going to say, it is so incredibly hard to win a pot when you fold. I mean,
damn near impossible.
Yeah. Most would say. I've seen this so many times, and I've talked about this a bunch. One of my absolute favorites as a dealer. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess as a player, but I never seem to be involved in this because, you know.
You're a ninny-nit?
Yeah. Take it easy.
Hey.
I mean, it's true, but take it easy. So, you know, you get an all-in on the river, and the opponent's thinking about it. Finally, they get out of the tank. They make a call. And the opponent that went all in says, nice call, ace high. And what does the caller say? Ace what?
Ooh, that's rough. We're going 5 cards deep for this showdown.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta love it. And then of course, you know, the callers or the original all in's like, oh, ace jack, and the caller's like, damn it, calling him with ace 9 high. And I mean, I
really thought he was bluffing with queen high there. I swear to God.
a bluff getting called by a worse hand. So, I mean, you just love that. That's always a sign that a game is good. Is just when people just are not folding.
They got their capes and their sheriff badges ready to go.
This is a fine line between these two. But number 4, we have a healthy amount of big bluffs going on in the game. And
yes, I feel like that's like probably. Anytime you go to a game and you just feel like no one's playing hands, there are all these itty bitty pots. Nobody is calling any 3 or 4 bets. Like you open to 15 or your opponent opens to 15 and you 3-bet to 45 and they're just folding like more than half the time. Like that's not a good game. There needs to be a healthy amount of gamble and a healthy amount of bluffing. And if you don't believe that everyone at the table is going to play their bluffs the same as, you know, they're nuts, it's going to be pretty boring. You're just not going to get these head-to-head battles and these big pots.
Well, as a sidebar to this one, I also feel like along with the bluffing, the best is when people are showing the bluffs.
Oh, well, you got to show them. You got to be disrespectful about it if you're going to bluff.
Especially if you get a speech by the tank folder. It's that that is the best. They give this speech about like, oh, you would never do this without the straight. You would never put this much money in if you don't at least have a straight.
Before
blah,
they
blah,
fold
blah.
and they reason themselves to the
then
fold.
Then they kick them into the muck, and then you're like, yeah, you're right. Good call. And show them the jack high and just, scoop them up.
I used to have a lot of fun showing down bluffs. I don't do it as much, especially at the higher level games. I do when I can, when it's advantageous to. I don't think it's advantageous ever to like show down a bluff or antagonize a player that you want to have a good rapport with, if I can say that politely. Perhaps someone might think they're a fish or a whale. Like those people you don't want to be getting into major conflicts with.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can establish a good rapport with other poker players by showing them a bluff. You're basically showing them, look, I'm no fish.
Play,
look,
yeah.
I'm putting the money in without the goods sometimes, and you're just going to have to figure it out. That's kind of part of the game. Number 3, stack depth. We talked a lot last week about how games in Texas, there's so many match the stack games. And some games are match the stack, but you don't have players actually matching the stack.
Yeah.
But more often than not, you see games that are just... If you watch some of these live streams, that's a good example of it. And the live stream games are some of the biggest games in town, and you still have people buying in for 500 big blinds.
Well, isn't that one of the most exciting parts of the 1-3 and 2-5 streams is that they cap it to start at 1K, or at least most of them have been, or 1,500, depending on, and to watch the stacks build on the people that already have those 500 and 1K chips, plaques in their pockets, ready to go and add on the moment the heat is on. The people that call for the chip runners, getting their cash out.
Well, yeah, and then even some streams that are, we're going to start with this, and I don't know why they start with a cap necessarily, because, again, there's no regulatory body in Texas saying that certain games have to be run certain ways, but they'll start with, say, like a 1K cap. And what they'll do on the very first hand is they'll just do what they call a racehorse. Just deal everybody a hand, and everybody puts in $100. And so someone's going to win like 800 or 900 on the first hand, and their 1K is going to now be 1.8K, and everyone tops up immediately. So, so you go from everyone bought in 1K, and now everyone's got like 1.8 after the first hand.
My favorite is like the timid pro that like kind of wants to be the table captain and get like the pots building, but like they don't have quite like the confidence and the charisma to pull it off. Like, I don't want to name anybody or call anybody out, but they'll be like, hey, is anybody feeling like a little racehorse here to start the evening off? And then just like everybody like gives them death stares. Like, I'm about to show people my whole cards on the internet. Leave me alone.
Yeah, stack depth is a massive indicator of, because it changes people's ranges. Again, not to get into like the weeds of strategy, but the bottom line is the deeper the game, the wider the ranges. At least it's supposed to be that way. Some people go the opposite way and they really snug up, but they don't realize they're making a mistake when they do that. You really need to widen because your implied odds are just so much greater. The deeper the game is, the greater your implied odds are if you can get it all.
That was a little too much strategy talk for me, Craig. I thought we agreed that.
Apologies. Moving on. Number 2, people waiting to get into the game. And this is...
Oh, demand.
Yes.
Let me supply this demand.
If there's demand for the game, and that comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes. If you talk about like a card club, you jump on Poker Atlas and you say, I'm going to go to TCH, or I'm going to go to wherever. Maybe you open up Poker Atlas not knowing where you're going to go.
Shuffle 5-1-2.
Sure. And so you look and say you're a 1-2 player, like me, and I jump on and I go, wow, there's 7 tables of 1-2 at the lodge. There's 3 of them at TCH and whatever. But then I look and there's 30 people waiting at the lodge. I go, wow, that means those games are full and there's people sitting there waiting to get into them. And some people might be deterred by that because they want to go and get right into the game. I'm sitting there going, those games have got to be good if there's 7 tables that are full and 30 people just waiting to get into them. That means as soon as a player busts out, there's new money coming on the table.
Yeah.
Every single time. And then to put that into perspective, say there's a home game, most home games, just one table. And so you've got 9 seats, maybe 10, depending on the game. And
no one's running 10-handed in Austin right now. That's not a stream table that is physically larger anyway.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play 10-handed anymore. That's a thing of the past.
Yeah, I mean, it happens sometimes out of circumstance, but say it's 9 or 10. I mean, that's your maximum seating.
Yeah.
And so you have someone that shows up, they could just as easily, go home, go on with their day because there's not a seat. But the game is so good that, I mean, they're sitting there waiting. So you show up to the game and there's 2 people that are sitting there waiting. You're third in line to get into the game. I mean, that's a good sign. That game's good. Nobody wants to get up. Nobody wants to leave. Everybody's wanting to play. So demand.
And it's like sort of in the same ilk. You'll see this happen at the lodge a lot where like they'll call someone's name for their first choice of game when they walked in the door. They were like, oh, hey, I'm here to play like 2-5 Hold'em. And they get sat at like a 1-3 or a 1-2 Hold'em table. And then they'll, get in the weeds and they'll have either doubled up or maybe gotten stuck or just like the action's really flowing. And by the time their name's called for the bigger game or the game that they want, they're like, they give the little slice.
No,
how
I'm
do I
good.
describe that visually?
I'm engaged here.
Little neck slicey motion.
Yeah. That actually happened.
It's an audio medium.
Actually
we got
saw
paint a
that
picture.
briefly. Right next to my table on Monday at the lodge was they had a 5-10 table going, and while the stream was going, and so Rampage was there, and I think he was first on deck to get on the stream, and I think it was Scotland that left. But so Rampage is just walking around and everybody's saying hi and taking their selfies and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then finally a seat opens on the 5-10. So he sits on the 5-10 and I think he played one hand. I don't know if he played it. I think he was dealt one hand. And then they call Rampage for the live stream and he's like, well, it's been fun, guys. We'll see you later. And they're like, oh, geez, we're second-rate citizens. And he's like, yep. Definitely want to get on camera. Sorry.
It's my income, BB.
Which that one kind of ties into our number one. A lot of sarcasm, a lot of ball busting, a lot of laughter. Just and this isn't really. I mean, all of our other things were kind of signs that there's a lot of money in the game to be won. This is more of a sign of just that the game is going to be fun. It's going to be something that you want to be a part of socially, and. I don't know. My style as a dealer is I'm always trying to make the game fun and social. I am always breaking people's balls. I live in a world of sarcasm. I am very rarely speaking seriously.
Yeah, I definitely give it back. I get a lot of grief at the table, but I give it back a lot, if not worse. It's sort of that psychological warfare element, like who can tilt each other and but like, like friendly jabs, like nothing that's going to make me like go home and cry about my childhood trauma or anything, but, friendly barbs amongst friends and trying to find those soft spots and weakenings. Like I said one point in the 25-50 game, like, oh yeah, I played that hand really tricky. And Bones was like, yeah, you went all in when you had the nuts, Caitlin, real tricky.
Sneaky. You're like, you think you're on level 7, but all you did was go back to level 1.
Yeah. But,
I have a good hand. I want to get the money in.
I was like, no, but I was exploitative pre-flop. You don't understand.
Yeah. There's just a dynamic to a game where everybody kind of can take a joke. And everybody there, because everyone can take a joke, everyone is just giving the needle.
No one's throwing the cards.
Long.
No one's screaming at the dealer that they ruined their family or that they can't buy diapers. That's like a dad joke that gets told at the poker table so much, especially if it's like a young father. They'll be like, "Oh, you're stealing my diaper money." I'm like, "Well, then don't gamble with your diaper money. If fucking house and feed your child. Don't make that my problem because I flopped a set against your overpair, homie."
Yeah, first of all, easy on the dad jokes. Okay, I don't take that lightly, but but I will say that my child, plenty of diapers. No concern.
No concern?
I don't take the diaper money to the poker table. No.
I'm proud of you.
No. He eats too.
Hey.
That's good.
Hey.
It's good.
Congratulations. You've met the bare minimum of fatherhood.
How big of you to notice?
Give him a few attaboys and you're batting 1,000.
Get this. You're not going to believe this.
I probably will.
I even tell him that I love him.
You want him to grow up to be weak, Cyr? Is that what you want?
It's unbelievable. I know.
How about you cry in front of him too and tell him about your feelings?
I'm all about the extra credit.
Gosh, I feel weaker even looking at you.
So
I'm just kidding, Craig. I love you and I love that you're a good father.
So moving on, that completes our top
before
five.
we move on, I have to tell an adorable Craig story. So last night I'm at a poker table. Craig's in the box. And I was getting to know a player that I've played with a handful of times, and he was and I was like, I bet your wife's so hot. And I was asking for dating advice, actually, and I was like, how do I bag a hottie? Like, and so at first I asked him to show me pictures of his family. He's like, you want to see my family? And as a gag on me, he pulled up a picture of like a porn star. And I was like, oh, she's lovely. No, I never bought it. That was his wife. But then he pulled up the picture of his real family, and my jaw was on the floor. It's just a stunning, effusively joyful, beautiful woman. And I'm like, why are you sitting here playing cards with me when that is waiting for you at home? But that's beyond the point. And then his 2 kids, and I was like oohing and awing over how like lovely I thought his family was. And Craig gets like jealous, and he slides over a picture of Jackie and Charlie, and he's like, oohing over my family now, please.
Hey.
He's like, you've never acted that way about my family.
Just wanted some adoration, that's all. Just
I love you, Jackie and Charlie. You're just as cute as the other family, I promise.
Yes, I will definitely say, and this is no slight to said player, but
I'm obsessed with that guy, by the way. He's one of my faves.
Super, super nice guy. Like that guy a lot. Definitely outkicked his coverage, though. Let's be honest. That woman's gorgeous.
I think he's a pretty, like, swell dude himself. He speaks multiple languages. He's well-educated and
you can tell
smart
because
and fun, so yeah.
You can tell because he
wasn't a shock.
He keeps up with the humor and the witty humor at the table, but whenever someone gets into, like, a really serious conversation, he always has something to add, whether they're talking about, traveling overseas and different cultures and things like that. I mean, the conversations that happen at poker tables.
Class act, never gets mad, never spikes the ball when he wins, never cries when he loses.
Absolutely. You can definitely tell he's been around the block more than once.
Yeah, and he's probably quietly crushing the game while we all look the other way. So
probably safe to say.
Get it, homie. Get it, homie. We're not even going to out you by saying your name. That's how much we like you. All right.
So this would be the hand review segment.
Oh, you want to hear about the biggest pot I've won in my entire career that happened on Monday?
I don't.
Excuse me?
I don't. Because, do you know why?
No.
You already went over a hand in depth.
Are we really going to...
You told the bomb pot story.
Craig, why are you so uptight? No, like we can talk about... I had 2 really exciting hands happen this week. Are you really going to like... You really think the popularity of podcasts is to do with the structure of the bits?
Well, I don't know if it's going to affect the popularity at all, but the bottom line is rules are rules. We talked about me being a good dad. I'm going to set strong boundaries here. So we have 1 hand review per episode. You stole it by telling your Andrew Neeme story. Now, had you told a story like my Brad Owen story, not involving a hand, then I would let you tell the story of the biggest pot of your life. But
okay, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. I will compromise with you. I will cede to you 1 hand. It's true. I don't want people to like listen to this podcast for strategy. And I frankly gave out way too much bomb pot information in episode 1, which incidentally, had Andrew Neeme listened to, perhaps he wouldn't have been felted by me. But
it is possible.
Teasing.
I guess I didn't understand that was a 2-card bomb pot. That's a little bit different. Yeah. But yeah, still not a lot of equity on the top. So.
But I mean, I called it, so.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So next week I have.
No, we're not on next week yet. We have to do our final segment. Harsh but fair.
All right. Bring it on.
This is a segment in which we give each other feedback that is constructive, but also harsh. So hence the name Harsh but Fair. So Craig. I want to give a good one. Hold on. Let me really wind up to it. I feel like your energy was off, and that it was the same that it always is. Like your hoodies are always zipped up as high as they can go.
Not true.
And
I have zipper room here. Like
you have no zipper room.
There's 7 inches of zipper here, not zip.
So the feedback. So Harsh but Fair, you have to listen to your feedback. So your feedback is that you're a little too buttoned up.
Okay, so when you said my energy is the same that it always is, are you criticizing me for being myself?
Yeah, this is me confronting you that I just don't like being around you.
I just wanted to confirm you're criticizing me.
This bit is so hard
for being criticizing me for being
slightly mean
myself.
to someone you really care about. Okay, your turn. No. You have to do. You have to say harsh but fair. So, Craig, you're too buttoned up.
All right. So my harsh
You have
but
to
fair.
say harsh but fair in response. That's the bit. I give you feedback and you say harsh but fair. Like, you have to receive it.
Okay, that was harsh but fair.
That's right, it was. Okay, my turn.
Okay, your turn. This is for a little bit pre-pod. Okay,
Jesus.
I just want to go over like a very brief,
So nervous.
a very brief outline. Okay, this is what we're going to talk about today. This is where we're going to start. This is where we're going to finish. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. It is, I would say, like herding cats, but you're just like one cat. And it is so impossible to keep you on topic. It's like a 20-minute ride to the studio. And I'm like, 20 minutes is plenty of time before we get there. And then we get here and I'm still just trying to get through like the first half of the outline with you. So I'm trying to drive, freak out that we're going to be late when
We're like ahead of schedule.
like 5 minutes early, and go over the outline at the same time. And it's still like you're just riding in the car, and it's just too much.
It was a beautiful
it's just
day,
too much.
y'all.
It's like, no,
there
let's
was
just
sun in the sky and lots of signs to look at.
and it's just like, no, let's just turn on the mics and we'll wing it. It'll be fine. So again, we're different. We're different in that regard, and it's fine. It's still fun. We have a lot of fun.
All right, Craig. Thank you. Harsh but fair. Harsh but fair.
I don't think I was overly harsh, but
It's the name of the damn bit, Craig.
definitely fair. So next week I have a topic that I think will be interesting to talk about. I know what it's going to bring out in me. I, of course, have no idea what you're going to say. I haven't even told you what the topic is yet. But next week, I want to talk about great advice in poker and people that have given that advice to you, what that advice was, how you've taken it, and how it's changed your life. Perhaps changed the course of your life, perhaps changed, and not necessarily, like mine's somewhat regarding poker, but some of it is just life advice that I've received through people that I met in poker. And I will probably give a shout out to a couple of people specifically because it's been splendid life advice. I mean, really, really, really good stuff that I wouldn't have gotten if not for poker, because I met these people through poker. And if I never played or never dealt or never, went to a poker game, I never would have even met these people.
Those lessons.
Right. And I mean, they're just things that have just stuck with me for years and years and years, and they've helped me a ton. I did want to apologize that we didn't have a guest this week, but we are going to keep trying.
Stop apologizing. You're worse than a woman writing an email.
Going to try to have a guest, so hopefully we can talk about great advice that you've gotten in poker, great advice that I've gotten in poker, and hopefully get something from a guest as well. We'll also have a new top 5, and we're going to have another single hand review, perhaps Caitlin's biggest pot she's ever played.
Maybe.
Unless she steals the ball, before that segment early in the pod and tells a different hand, and then we have to skip it again.
Well, I don't plan anything as a rule. I just close my eyes and sprint blindly into the horizon. But y'all, thanks so much for listening to the Texas Poker Experience today. We had so much fun telling you about our experiences at the Lodge. Thank you to the Lodge for letting us puff you up for a little bit. We look forward to continuing on through the weeks and telling you about all the fun places there are to play in Texas and what makes it special. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Yes, appreciate you so much. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the subscribes. Thanks for the ratings. It's really been awesome. We'll see you next week. Don't be an it.